Okay, so with this morning Angus Lyon, who's founder of Thin Framing, and he's going to tell you a little bit about that in a second. He's joined me to talk a little bit about his company as well as his experience of being on the Happy Startup Homeschool, and then any advice for someone who's taking part in the course, really. So yeah, Angus, do you just want to do a little intro? Tell us a little bit about the work you do, and yeah, how you discovered us, really.
Okay, I'm Angus and I work as a lawyer. I've worked as a lawyer for quite a long time, and a lot of the legal work that I have done has been helping people who've been injured, seriously injured, physical injuries, psychological injuries. I also work as a psychotherapist. I have a dual qualification. I qualified as a counsellor a few years ago. And one thing that I'm interested in, and I think is a challenge, is the fact that when I see people for counselling, when they come for therapy, they're at the rehab stage, and there's a great deal that I know we can achieve with people at that stage, but if they were aware of psychological practice, issues that might be going on for them, the psychological theories that we put into practice at the rehab stage, I'm thinking, why can't we learn those things at an earlier stage so that we are aware of what's going on around us, what's going on inside ourselves, what's going on between us and other people, and what's going on for us when we get into groups and when we're stressed out. So my idea really is that we ought to be looking at prehab rather than rehab. And to illustrate that, very, very simply, in a nutshell, I've got something that I prepared earlier. So when I see people, there's a little juggling ball. When I see people for therapy, that's at the blue stage. That's at the rehab stage, where people are burnt out, where they've crashed out, depression, they're on medication, problems, and everyone's aware of problems. Just doing something on my computer screen. Prior to that, there's the red, that represents the stress stage, where it's too hot in the cooker, where emotional problems start getting too much for us. So that's the beginning of burnout, and that's where a lot of the stress training that's out there at the moment impacts. But my view is it probably impacts too late. Before that, the green section represents the stage where we are creative, where stuff is going well for us, where life is going okay, we're working in a state of flow, stuff is good, life is good. And the yellow bit is where we don't have enough stress, we're just, there's not enough engagement, and there's no creativity. So that's the idea. So rather than when people are burnt out and blue, getting the therapy, being aware of what's happening for us at an earlier stage, when we're able to take that on board, when we're able to think about it creatively, and doing that through ideas like, or practices of mindfulness, so that we're aware of what's going on inside ourselves. A lot of the common stress techniques that are out there at the moment, the practical stuff, the non-personal stuff, and then more particularly, I think, where there isn't so much knowledge and understanding is in the idea of the recent theories of, or relatively recent, the last 20 years or so, the idea of mentalization, which deals with the application, the integration of many psychological theories that have been built up over the last 100 years or so, and thinking about those in terms of how we feel about ourselves, what we think about ourselves, how we relate to other people, and how we relate to life in groups. That's it in a nutshell. How's that?
Brilliant. So I'm not sure that's the elevator pitch, unless that's the Empire State
No,
Building.
no, no, no. Give me 20 minutes, I'll do a TED talk. Give me an hour and I'll bore the pants off you.
That's brilliant. And I mean, yeah, I mean, one of the reasons we were inspired to set up the Happy Startup School was we've always been interested in positive psychology and, using techniques to be able to, you know, avoid those situations where you end up stressed and anxious and depressed. So I suppose there's some parallel there. And in terms of how you discovered us, what was it about the school and the course in particular that you thought resonated with how you want to approach your business?
I think I can't remember how I discovered you initially, but I obviously found myself on a landing page somewhere, and I pressed a button which gave me some freebies, a couple of downloads, which intrigued me and interested me. And then I guess I must have got another email which said, "Why don't you sign up for the startup school?" And I thought, why not? Because I was thinking about various business ideas at the time. I thought this might be useful, some new thinking, new ideas to get things rolling.
Brilliant. And in terms of,
yeah, so that's how I found out about you. Yeah.
And in terms of things that stood out for you as really valuable from where you're at, and you know, for your business.
I think the startup school, the 4-week online course, so 4 sessions once a week. I think the things I found helpful there were the sense of online community. That was good. People all around the world joining in who've got ideas and thinking things through for themselves. That was good. I think the informality of it, the resources, or rather the signposting to resources that we got on the course was really helpful. Far too helpful, because I've got to grips with 1 or 2 of them. I mean, that's quite a really helpful overload of stuff, basically. So that was good.
I think one of the guys in Japan's actually ordered every book we put on the list. So he's not going to be doing
key, isn't it? Yeah.
I think that's the downside. You end up not doing any work because you're too busy absorbing all this information. But
you do, yeah. There is a tendency to think, and not actually start practicing. And yeah. But some of the ideas. I mean, the whole idea of the lean startups, the lean startup, the Eric Ries stuff, I find really helpful. Really helpful, just to be able to think through that. And to get some practical tips and examples on that, how that works, and I guess you put that into practice in your business. And the idea of blue ocean, just looking at the opportunities that might be out there that others haven't tapped into yet, and to do some thinking about that. Those were two key ideas, or sets of ideas, that I found that I've been thinking around.
Yeah, I think we've always liked to have this balance of kind of the science of the lean startup and that kind of methodology in terms of, you know, not trying to plan the future and trying to experiment and play around with ideas and test the market, really. Balance that with a kind of higher purpose or vision to do some good, or to kind of make your life a little bit better, and others too, hopefully. And in terms of things that we can improve on next time, I mean, it was the first time we run this, so, you know, any feedback's useful.
Okay. Positive criticism. I found, I mean, it was great. I mean, so it was run in the month or so in the run up to Christmas. So the time of year, I think, was pretty stressy for a lot of people. Certainly, I had a lot going on, so I was not able to take on board all that I might have. So it may be that the time of year, think about the time of year, maybe do it at other times of year. Everyone's busy in the run up to Christmas, or coming up towards the end of the year. That was one thing. I found it pretty intensive, which again was great, so it really helped the focus, and that was a positive thing. But I wonder if you were to do it on a fortnightly basis over a 2-month period, that would give a couple of benefits there. It would give people longer to think about the stuff before the next module, so that they could work on it, soak it up, take it on board, put some of the stuff into practice, and also to maybe to build up a greater sense of online community, and so that people could have more time to think about what other people would explore, what other people were doing, without so much pressure. Yeah. I find that my focus was on my stuff, getting a bit here and there, and some fantastic posts about what people were doing, and I've grabbed some of those and thought those through and applied those to myself. So maybe, I suppose, take a little bit longer. That would be one thing. So it's a question of balancing up the focus and the intensity with the time to soak it up.
Yeah, and I think we one thing we're doing with the next one is we're going to keep it similar, but obviously do it at a different time of year, so it starts next month. So
Okay.
we'll take out one variable, I suppose, from that, because we found it ourselves, even with the run up to Christmas, we were committed to the course and we put in loads of effort into that, so we were kind of not getting much sleep, but we found it a great learning experience for us too. But no, it's great feedback, and I think, like you said, it's getting that balance between having something intensive so you can actually not just let it slip, but also having enough time to be able to do some challenges. And I think some people found some of the challenges dead easy because they were a little bit further along. Other people found some of them a bit more involved because they hadn't thought of some of this stuff. So I suppose it's you can't please everyone all the time. So we're trying to find that sweet spot, I suppose. But yeah, it's great to know that. And in terms of tips, given that, for people who want to join the course, any advice given that this next one's going to be still quite intensive? Would you say they set aside some time to be able to do some of the challenges, or pick and choose them based on what resources and time they've got?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's everyone's got their own priorities, and I would, I suppose, yeah, get organised, get set up for it, make the most of the time that's there, but go in with an open mind, think about possibilities, think why not, not why. So what's out there, and get ready to fail your way to success. Those have been my tips, I think.
You've been reading Eric Ries's book, clearly. Fail fast, learn faster.
Fail fast, is that the one? Okay.
Yeah. Well, no,
but I think that's it. Don't be afraid to fail, and to tweak it and to alter things, and to be rethinking and rejigging it as you go along, as you're on the journey, rather than get it all sorted and get it all sorted wrong right at the beginning.
Well, I think it's also changing this narrative around failure. I think it's not failing; it's just ways to make it a success, I suppose. And I think, I've heard it described as blind alleys, just kind of not. There's no opportunity there, so we'll try another one, rather than I've failed 100%. It might be I failed 10% or 15%. Awesome. And if people want to find out more about thin framing and what you're up to in the next couple of months, how can they do that?
Okay, I'm just about to set up a blog, which is guslyon.com, guslyon.com. That'll be up and running within the next week or two, and I'll point the Twitter feed towards that and point everything to everything else. And it's Thin Training with a T, not an F. And I will get that set up probably, I guess, probably around about Easter time, something like that. So the blog, when that's up and running, will have some of my thinking, some of my ideas, and then in due course that will point towards the website.
Great. So I'll make sure we check up on you come Easter to make sure you've
That's absolutely fine. Yeah.
And fail fast again.
Thank you very much.
All right, cheers, guys.
Take it easy. Yeah. Okay, cheers, Laurence. Bye.